Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what's a relatively unknown technological invention that will have a huge impact on the future? Did you know that they have developed implants which can grow with you? Meaning that kids with faulty heart valves or damaged organs which require a synthetic element can undergo just one surgery as they are young and never have to have further surgeries for replacement as they grow. My housemate is a chemical engineer and she told me all about it. I thought it was interesting. Edit: holy shit, woke up, I'm from Melbourne, to 54 Kelvin likes. Glad you all found it interesting. I wish it was something I knew from my own field, but unfortunately lawyers don't come up with technology. Did you know that since last year no conveyancing has been done by paper? In Victoria, it's all done on electronic conveyance software. Not as interesting, but it is actually a huge thing for lawyers. Edit 2. A lot of you are asking about my housemate needing to share a house as a chemical engineer. I'm in law and our other housemate is in architecture. We live in Melbourne together by choice. We're in our 20s. In Melbourne at least it is strange to not live with housemates in your 20s. It's considered odd. Which funnily enough is strange to her because she is from Sweden and it's much more common to move straight in with partners or even on your own there. Also, did you know that in Sweden, in their bigger cities, Stockholm, Göteborg etc., they have waiting lists for flats? You put your name down and your rank on that list will determine your priority for a flat. Ack för svensk folk, jag älskar LHC. First and foremost, that sounds amazing. Second, my dumbass definitely thought you were talking about breast implants in the first sentence. Breast implants that can grow with you just made me think of ladies at the retirement home 100 years from now with absolute watermelons on their chests, so thanks for that image. I've had heart surgery 3 times for a faulty aortic valve, first to widen the biological one as I was too young for a mechanical, second for a mechanical replacement, third for a mechanical route as the valve was too damn powerful for my existing aortic route. Each time I've had full-on chest-splitting open heart surgery, and each time they've introduced a keyhole procedure to do the same thing within a year. And now you tell me I could have just had it once if I'd been born a few years later. Ah well, born a few years earlier and I wouldn't be here at all, so swings and roundabouts. Edit: obligatory. Wow, this blew up. Shoulder realized that by far my most popular post on here would be about getting chest busted, not wry observations about life. Anyway, if you've got any questions, or you're about to go through this, or are worried about, honestly hit me up and I'll let you know my experiences. But the TLDR is modern medicine is amazing. Doctors and nurses are the bloody best of us, and getting those drains tugged out hurts like Billy-O. If it's any consolation, I now think you are a total badass tough mofo. Low pressure solar powered drip irrigation systems. Some more information from MIT. Drip irrigation delivers water through a piping network to drip emitters that release the water directly at the base of the crops, avoiding water losses due to evaporation, runoff, and infiltration. Drip can reduce water consumption by 20 to 60% compared to conventional flood irrigation, and has been shown to increase yields by 20 to 50% for certain crops. Because irrigation accounts for over 70% of fresh water use in most regions of the world, large-scale adoption of drip irrigation would reduce the consumption of fresh water and be an asset for locations around the world experiencing water shortages and groundwater depletion. As a fan of anything efficient, I'm spinning. Gene therapy is no longer science fiction. My girlfriend got luxury surgery and the results have been amazing. She used to be unable to see at all at night and now she can guide herself without a cane. More treatments like that are going to keep coming and be standard before we realize it. Biotech science in general is undergoing a massive and amazing sea change right now. Gene therapy is a huge wave that's just getting started even now. And there are so many related applications that are really exciting. We are swiftly getting to the point of being able to edit safely. We can already teach your own modified immune cells to attack your cancer in things like CAR-T. And the field is really still in its infancy yet. Imagine fighting cancer effectively without the side effects of chemo. We will look back someday and think chemo was barbaric. We will look back someday and think chemo was barbaric. Someone close to me went through chemo. To think that one day, it may be a thing of the past instead of a necessity makes me very hopeful for our future. Realistically, the use of carbon grids to reproduce the catalytic effects of rhodium metal, commonly used in catalytic converters. Rhodium metal is currently trading at $13,000/ounce after a huge spike due to worldwide emissions restrictions that took effect in 2020. Long story short, there is only two places on Earth to effectively find the stuff, and it is going to run out, well before fossil fuels and other important building materials do. Replacing rhodium with carbon in catalytic purposes would save global manufacturers hundreds of billions a year and make many consumer goods much more affordable. Edit, in theory with the affordable part asterisk. It's a logical step: carbon hood, carbon converter, carbon wheels. The only stopgap is pricing. One day I will be able to walk into a dealership and buy a base model Corolla with a carbon fiber hood. The invention of hypersonic missiles is starting an arms race not seen since the Cold War, and nobody seems to care. I think that's because the same rules of MAD applies. If you use those, you get nuked. There's no casual hypersonic missile war the same way there's no casual nuclear war. So it's a solved problem, as much as MAD is a solution. The problem is hypersonic munitions are first strike munitions. As the time to react becomes smaller and smaller, the retaliatory threat becomes a smaller and smaller threat. That's the concern with weapons of that nature, because they actually diminish MAD considerations when it comes to WMDs rather than allow for a status quo. I'm assuming the benefit here is that these missiles can bypass current missile defense systems. Precisely, that, and they have basically infinite range. Printed human skin and organs. There are still some decent hurdles to overcome for macro-scale application of 3D printing biologicals, but yeah, this will be a super good one in the future. I think there was a 3D printed trash tube not too long ago. Pretty cool. The guy involved in that was dismissed amid findings of misconduct, and most of the patients seem to have died. https://www.nature.com/news https://www.bbc.co.uk/news/magazine-37311038. The scandal also led to the resignation of the Vice-Chancellor and Dean of Research of the Karolinska Institute where he worked, after an expose on Swedish TV. I actually got the #1 spot on r/all for a post about similar research, and I followed the outcome with embarrassment about unknowingly promoting it. It's a reminder not to go too overboard on hype about new technologies. You need a lot of fundamental research before many of these technologies will make it to the clinic safely. And we need strong processes that look at evidence instead of hype. Edit, another article from /u/some-other-troper/below, https://leapsmag.com. My bet is on CRISPR, a genetic technology that enables DNA modification on live organisms, at a very low cost. Sadly, I cannot predict whether the impact will be positive or not. Golden-skinned sovereign race IRL. Green skin is obviously the only way, photosynthesis. I'm betting we'll discover a new, better gene editing technology. CRISPR is much better than older methods, but it's nowhere near good enough to be used commonly in humans without making major improvements. Or not even simple eukaryotes for that matter. A big step nonetheless, but really is just a step towards a good method. The pace in which gene technology is improving is honestly astonishing. When I had my gene editing classes in my master's course, the stuff we learnt in the first month was already obsolete at the time of the exam. Lithium-sulfur batteries are in development right now that could make battery storage much cheaper than current lithium-ion and lithium polymer batteries. Lower cost batteries mean more people can afford to use them, and that's more internal combustion engines, replaced with electric motors. While I'm at it, battery recycling. Every element in a battery can be extracted and recycled into new batteries, especially the lithium. A former founding member of Tesla has actually already opened a plant to do just that. I'm a bit skeptical. There are dozens, if not hundreds, huge capacity and theoretically cheaper batteries out there that have never left the research phase. I'm not sure if Li-S is the same. There's often a trade-off with different chemistry, but we're seeing massive improvements in battery technology. My 2014 Tesla has the same amount of power in the battery, watt/hours, as a new Model 3, but the new Tesla weighs over 1,000 pounds less, and has 80 more miles of range. Any kind of advance in batteries and the ability to store electrical energy. A huge portion of electronic devices are only limited in scope because of how much battery power it would require, and that's a field which has become largely stagnant. There are a few promising things out there but nothing actively in development, but such an advance in technology would unlock the potential of technology that already exists but is currently impractical. Edit, I'm not just talking about smartphones, but any device that runs on a battery. Particularly electric cars. Edit, hiya folks, thanks for all the replies, definitely learning a ton about the subject. Not going to summarize it here, but look at the comments below to learn more because there's great info there. Also, as many have said, significant applications to renewable energy too. Don't forget making electronics more power efficient, as well. It's a two-lane street. The problem I think stems from PCs being plugged in and most mobile development still being in the mindset of PC developers. They get a more powerful device and instead of building on the efficient code they had to make for the last one, they just build a bloated lazy app for the new one because it can power through the laziness. In other words, if more developers would code like they did for the first smartphones, our fucking batteries would already be lasting all damn day. There is no incentive at all to code like they did for the first smartphones. The app market doesn't reward efficient code and efficiency comes at the expense of developer time. If the trade-off is one very efficient feature or two normal features, companies will always pick two features. That's just it right now. The only room for improvement is making the device use less power and to make charging faster or more convenient. Mitigating the basic problem of limited capacity, but not solving it. It can be both. A higher capacity and efficient practices. Although realistically I imagine higher capacity would reduce the need for efficient use. That's a field which has become largely stagnant. I don't think that statement is accurate. There's a lot of development right now to support electric cars, which can be translated over to stationary storage a lot easier than the other way around. There's teams working on graphite-based solid-state batteries. The guy who invented lithium-ion batteries just received a patent for a new type of battery using glass and sodium. Tesla has been hinting at a new battery tech. Arguably, the battery market is more active now than it has been in a long time. Yes. The stagnant comment is over a decade old, and it still gets repeated constantly.